So this video is going to be focusing on variables. Now, variables are one of the building blocks of Python. You use them for everything in Python or any programming language at all. Now, it's really important to know the distinction between what types of variables are there, and so there are a lot of types of variables if you include the ones that you can import from other objects. But I'm going to talk about 5 of them today. There are doubles or floats, which are floating point numbers. They can have decimals in them. They can be 5.0, but they're just a different type of number. Ints, which are integers, they're whole numbers, or I believe whole negative numbers. So anything that's a whole number, no decimals points added on at all. So there are strings. Strings are, we talked about those in the last video. They are in quotation marks. They're parentheses. They're no, not in parentheses. They're in quotation marks. They are words. They are anything but inside quotation marks, and they're just things you can print out. You can't really do much with them, like adding them together, but it doesn't really, strings are just things. The next thing is characters. Now, characters are like strings, but they only have one letter. They can be used for some different situations. Usually they're used for comparing to other characters, and you would take any character out of a string and compare it to something else. These are all different types of variables, and there are also booleans, which is either true or false. Something can also be null, which is basically no value, but that's only used if you haven't done something correctly, or you're writing a program that requires it to be null. So I'm going to show you an example of each of them. So what I'm doing right now is I'm instantiating. I'm going to be instantiating a double. Let's say x equals 5.0. That right there is a double. You can see right here is a point. In any double there needs to be a point and then something after it. 5 point, that's a syntax error, but 5.0, that is a double. Now it's different from an int, y equals 5. Now those are different, believe it or not. The first one is a double or a float. I believe in Python they're floats. Yeah, they're floats. This is an int, and you can see it's a syntax error. When it comes up as colored in this, it means it's a type. So ints are whole numbers. Could be also negative. And negative, also with doubles, they can be negative. This is a string. Literally anything inside of here. And then this is a character, and it has to be in single quotation marks, or else it's a string, but that's a character. Always use single quotation marks. And this is a boolean. So in Python, booleans have to be capitalized. It's either true or it is false, and they have to be capitalized, spelt exactly like this. If it's not spelt like this, it will come up as a syntax error. And I don't think null is actually in this, so that's very convenient. So there are different situations where you use all of these. In the print statement, you can actually print other things. So you can print any of these. You can print a variable. Now we haven't defined x. When it says this, undefined name x, it's because it runs from the top down. So first it prints that, then it prints x, but since x declared down here or instantiated, it will not run up here. So I'm going to copy this, put it up here. Now this should go away. We can say print x, can go run it, and it will say negative 5.0. So we can do that. We can do print z, which is a string. That should also work. Yep, that does work. Now I'll show you something called concatenation. Now that is a fancy term for adding a string with something else, or a string with another string. I'm pretty sure. But let's say you want to add z and y together. Let's say you want to have it say whatever I wrote down in the variable z, and then have a space and then negative 5. So what you would do in something like Java is you just add them together, right? You do z plus y. But in Python, it turns an error because you can't add an int right here to a string. So how we get around this is we put a comma. Now you'll see it prints it out together down here. This can be useful in some ways if you want to add a couple strings together. There are some programs where you have to add strings, and now this is just simple because you can just add things together. Maybe if you want to say, maybe if you set the variable to, you know, maybe if you're doing something like this, print your balance is, you don't exactly want to say what their balance is in the string because you want it to be able to be used again. If you have a program where you're changing what somebody's balance is, you're going to want to be able to update that balance, and you wouldn't be able to do that by just writing it in here. So you'd have to do something like this. Like, fortunately for this person has negative $5, but it'll work. So their balance is negative $5, and that's unfortunate for them, but that's how you use concatenation in a print statement. In the next video, we will be doing user input, which is really useful. User input's pretty great, but get excited for if statements because those are going to be coming up in a little bit, and once we get to those, we can start making some pretty insane things. So stay tuned for the next video. Goodbye.